Guys, Vince right here. Welcome to my review of Jack Tree, which I finished in it's a long span of days that I finished it. Well, actually different compared to the previous other Jack games. Like, Jack 2 kind of took me like almost a year to finish because I was busy with other things. And this one, well, probably in the beginning of God, what was it? The beginning of summer, I downloaded it and I played it, and I enjoyed it. I pretty much enjoyed it. Like when I finished it, I immediately deleted the game. Even though usually for games like this, I would like still stick around and do that. No, I basically delete. I'm like, I'm good. I don't care about no bonus or yada all that stuff. Especially the moment that I exited the title screen and stuff like that, it's just to get the bonus, and it wasn't there. I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm not coming back. Yep, boom, delete, and it's crazy. Pretty much this change of me and my gaming habits, and pretty much where it's at. From where come from of just like finishing the amount of games. I still remember like during the days of when I had to switch back in 2019, there was games where even though I finished them like Outworlds or Sinking the man, my this is my favorite game, and here I am forgetting the name at the moment. I'm about to go to bed, so that's why I kind of forgot. But there was games where I literally would still stick around even though I finished it. But this one, even though it took a little bit to finish it, even though I didn't really stick around much just to remember most of my time with the game, it's still something like I wish that I would stick around, but I didn't. It's weird because for the longest time I always been curious of Jack Tree. I was alive when it came out, and pretty much I always played Jack 2, never finished it. Now, fast forward to now in my 20s, I finished Jack 2, and pretty much finished, of course, finished Jack 3 like a few minutes ago. And yeah, I pretty much like have my fulfillment of the Jack series. And of course, I'm going to give all tens to all these Jack games that I've been playing. They're my childhood. They're a significant part of like how my upbringing when it comes to Jack and Daxter, Sly Cooper, Ratchet and Clank, Metal Gear, all of these games that, came out during that time, because PlayStation 2 was everything to me almost. It was like it was this planet of a console that ruled them all, literally. And it pretty much ruled my world of just like my perspective in gaming and just the different worlds behind it and stuff like that. Now, Jack Tree itself, as you know, this is just my thoughts of the game. If I would give a review, I'll be a bit more organized, but I'm just on bed. I'm laying on bed as I'm talking about this. Ain't no office, ain't no big studio steady setting or whatever, even though I would like that. Nah, it's just me like about to go to sleep, and I'm like, yeah, let me just talk about Jack Tree just to end the day. But for this particular, series in the game, the dialogue, I noticed it starts to get a bit annoying in some cases, especially with Jack. Like some of the jokes, especially as it's going into the end, I notice a rhythm that is a bit off when actually you're about to go to the end. Like some of the writers are like, okay, let's just finish this. Let's just do this. Here's the ending. And they did it well, but it's like, man, it felt like they just like noticed that it's been too long, and they're like, okay, I think we need to end this. We gotta zoom out there. We gotta move on to other games. So yeah, I just noticed that. I just get that feeling. And also for a game like this, like Jack Tree, that try to lives up to actually the other games, and I could be wrong. Here's the thing: I don't have all the in depth or the in and outs. I don't know if this game was successful when it came out. I don't freaking know. I don't really care about that information at all. Most of all, I care about my enjoyment of the game. So did I enjoy the game? There were so many parts of the where I used the weapons and utilize them. I wasn't a fan of the power ups, especially using the white, or there's dark eco, and there's like the light eco, the white eco, or whatever you may call it. and I just didn't care much to use them, even though they're for certain levels to progress. And it was okay. One thing I did enjoy is the hoverboard. Thank goodness they still got the hoverboard, and I pretty much used the crap out of that hoverboard. It was fulfilling because the whole time when I was actually using the hoverboard, there was levels to actually utilize it that is pretty much for the hoverboard, but I just, it gives it more speed, way more. Because the whole time when I started the game, I thought I was gonna start in the first level of just like being this crappy desert. But I starts to find out that it goes to the previous levels, and I like that. But it also shows an interesting perspective in the levels of just having to, be in this other world that is just like, a change from what you've seen in Jack 2. And you pretty much see a couple of changes because of the revolution or whatever's going on in terms of protests. But yeah, other than that, the story time and everything, I wasn't interested with the enemy, especially this big guy that just came out of nowhere. The king of this whole of the desert ruins, or whatever city you may call it, is kind of like, it was a bit okay to me, even though he felt like an older person of the guy that was like almost the head of the revolution of just like in Jack 2, with the scrappy voice. Like I thought that was him for a minute, like future him, like what would be like if he was older. There were certain surprises and questions that were answered in this game, and I pretty much respect that for it. But man, here's the thing. As a person, if you know this channel, you know where I'm going of when it comes to the romance of any game. There was part of me where I wish that it can kind of maybe I would find that out in the next game, being Jack and Daxter, the precursor or Losser. Basically Jack and Daxter 4. I know that freaking Jack Mortal Racing or whatever it is actually the next game after this. And there's a part of me where I guess I might check it out, and pretty much I am thinking about it, but I want to actually really go into the other Fort game because I feel like that one's the main one. Even though I don't know, are all Jack Daxter games story based? Most of them, yes, but could Mortal X or whatever that racing game, Combat X Racing, could that be a storyline? I mean, I'm gonna find out later. That's for sure. But for my moments playing Jack Tree, the weapons, the levels of just like I feel like Jack 2 had some iconic gaming moments that really define what a PlayStation, what the PlayStation 2 is. At least that's what I remember. Because when I think about PlayStation 2, I think about God of War, I think about Ratchet and Clank, Sly Cooper, and also of course Jack, the top three of their in my book, of when it comes to the with the mascots for it. But just what it's capable of, like this kind of almost shows it in many ways. I know the levels can be tiring. I wish that there was a bit more variety of the levels. I mean, it was interesting actually seeing most of it, and also just playing levels with one of the characters as well. Returning characters, and seeing them again. Also, there's some enemies that in the game that didn't really make sense to me most of the time. It just didn't feel intimidating. Like I feel like they were just teasing, or just not intimidating at all in the most sense of just like seeing it. Like I still remember my reaction because I played this game in a span of like a couple months, like from summer to now, and I still remember my reaction seeing like uh Stamos or something, the green guy, and also I the the one that is supposed to be the main love interest for uh Jack, like pretty much it didn't really like happen, but there was a part of me where I really thought I believed it. I don't know if this counts as a spoiler, but I really thought it was gonna happen, but it sort of didn't. I know Daxter found his love interest. Okay, of course he would. And there was like characters where I feel like, yeah, this is going to like a Disney or Pixar route with its inspiration. At least that's how I see it or how I interpret it. But it could have gone any way, but it felt like, what? Then again, there's probably an audience of children, and I'm probably one of them, when this game came out, so it's probably appealing to that. Mostly easily, Jack could have been a movie or could have been like an animation series or something like that. And man, that would be interesting if it go that route. I don't know if that would happen now, but still, it'll be something, of course, interesting. I really hope that, whatever happens in the last game of the Jack and Daxter series, I don't know where it's gonna end up. I don't know if it's gonna be like this is it, or if it's gonna be a continuation, like a cliffhanger. But where is that game? Nowhere to be found. But there's probably good explanation because these are just my predictions of just of what's gonna happen when I reach to the final game of the Jack and Daxter series, not the collection, none of these trilogies. No, the actual game that really sort of brings up the whole entire story and wraps it up like a present. You know what I mean? But my time in the game, at least that's, as I try to manifest and remember most of it, at least, I enjoyed it. Return levels and stuff like that. And as a fan of Jack and Daxter, of course, I would enjoy it for the most part. Is it the best compared to, Jack 1 and 2? No. Jack 1 and 2 had something special. For this one, I don't know. I feel like there wasn't much new. The racing was okay. The racing was fun. Some of it was a bit hard, but the racing was okay. I wasn't a fan of like jumping on, certain like islands and stuff like that. I wasn't a fan of that. But the racing was okay. And for the most part of the game, with mysteries and stuff like that, like it could have gone many ways. But for me, I I had my feel for what it can offer, but it's not really living up to compared to 1 and 2. Anyways, this is just my opinion and reviews of Jack Tree. It's an iconic game, and the case, the I even the idea or just like the name of it, of there being a third installment to the Jack and Daxter series is still iconic in me. It really does feel like 2000, in that sense. And yeah, it took this long for me to actually play it. I couldn't really play it back then, but here I am actually finish it. And you know what? I kind of sorry, I kind of recommend it in many ways of just sort of wrapping up the series like something you had to go through to get to the final game. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, like, comment, all that jazz. See you when I see ya. And yeah, Jack Tree finally finished it. It was a fulfillment. Jack and Dexter forever. With love and peace.